AskReddit by Responsible Shape 33. What worries you most about today's youth? I worry they won't be aware of how much misinformation there is on the internet, and that it will feed more into confirmation bias. The sharp decline in both adult and child literacy is extremely concerning, as well. My first assignment in my HS current events class is about disinformation, misinformation, and how to filter out lies and the truth in media in today's world. I'm the teacher. The impact of social media on their mental health. I see this as a HS teacher. It's a serious issue. Some students can't focus on anything for more than a few seconds and give up when faced with the slightest challenge. Before anyone accuses me of being a bad teacher, let me add I teach electives that are pretty fun and work hard to make my course engaging. I have provided the water and led the horse to it, but unless the water is wrapped in a TikTok video they aren't interested. There's not really many kids-friendly internet places anymore. While a lot of young people were on MySpace early on, there was a good period of time with lots of kids websites like Club Penguin, Animal Jam, Pop Tropica, Toontown, etc. Nowadays kids will just go onto social media where horrible and miserable people will say gross things. I'd truly love to make a kid's website if I knew how to code. I miss Pop Tropica so much. Webkins was also the shit. Their attention spans. And it's called the TikTok brain. Watching hours of endless amounts of shorts makes them getting used to only watching shorter videos. So many of them can't even watch a movie as it's too difficult for them to stay focused for that long. That they won't have the opportunities to be bored and create magical moments with their imagination. Every time we take away screens from my daughter say there's nothing to do, so I say you can do push-ups, or sit-ups, or air squats, or help prep dinner, or put away your laundry, or read, or draw, or play a board game, or do Legos. Don't tell me there's nothing to do. I will give you something to do if you're bored. Miraculously, they find stuff to do. They have very, very short attention spans and an inability to focus in on a task. I see this almost daily with a few of our latest hires. Bullet point checklists seem to be over their heads. I can't boil tasks down any simpler unless I do the task for them. Attention spans are so short. Full paragraphs blow their mind. They seem to be more concerned about themselves and their time over others, especially who they work with. Deadlines seem meaningless to the ones I am around. They want to be validated for every little thing they do. The comment above seemed so well written, but it was too long, so I didn't read it. I apologize for this. I worry that they give up too easily on themselves. If you want something, fight for it. Modern parenting and schooling really are geared more and more towards coddling kids and never really challenging them, thanks to a combination of whiny parents complaining and NCLB incentivizing a lowering of standards. The result is a new generation who never developed proper coping mechanisms and have no resilience. Complete lack of media literacy and ability to compromise. This is a good one. Compromise or getting anything other than what they want, even if it's a bad idea, is losing. I've seen other kids point out it means the person is laundry list of doormat qualities or that they are better by comparison as a result. Main character syndrome is rampant. My students have a lack of empathy for others. They want to be right at the expense of other important things. They feel like any amount of work they do should be praised whether they really tried or succeeded or not. Consequences are just not real to the majority of my students, and it scares me, like they're the protagonist of a sitcom that will always win in the end. Most of my students who come from middle-class backgrounds, especially with a two-parent household, should be set up for success based on statistics, but I'm concerned that they are the ones who will suffer more in adulthood. The whole skincare makeup thing. Of course teens will start getting into makeup and such, but there is no reason 8-year-olds should be using exfoliators and retinol. One of my first graders comes in every morning full beat, no need. I work in the student lounge area of a college. The kids have no problem helping themselves to the snacks, games, blankets, printing services, etc. that we offer, but they seem utter incapable of throwing away their trash, putting things up, self-limiting themselves so that others can partake. They will share with those there at that time but don't think about anyone coming in later. They have the attention span of a gnat, so even when reminded to do things they forget 2 minutes later. The ones that are employed in there can only function with very specific, incredibly detailed directions, repeated constantly, and lose focus so easy. I often wonder how they are going to function in the real world. Anti-intellectualism. But that worries me with all generations. I really agree with this and always emphasize the arts. I think universities should attempt a learning system which combines a practical degree with an arts degree, e.g., BA History and BA Accounting. The youth of today grew up and are dependent on foundational technology most of them don't really understand. They are bombarded and familiar with the interface, yet the underlying tech, which quite frankly manipulates them, is barely understood and only getting more sophisticated. I feel that's the same for every generation. Most people don't know how things really work. Too much misinformation. They are easily manipulated by social media, basically because they can't relate with anyone, because they spend their time, not learning, but on their computers and mobile phones for instant gratification. I mean, you can't just sum up a mobile phone to just being instant gratification. I've learned a plethora of things from the internet. Extremely short attention spans with a very, very high expectation of constant stimulation. Declining literacy is also getting more and more apparent. It gets really exhausting being the only responsible one with my peers. We're not the only one, bud. Overall lack of respect for authority and adults. They will be screwed in the work environment. That they have swallowed the BS that they can't succeed no matter how hard they try. That the world is going to end in 5 years, so why bother? They think the world's problems that have always existed are something they can fix themselves. They need to just focus on the small things, work, health, positive relationships, and go from there. They spend formative years behind screens. They don't know how to interact with each other. They lack critical thinking skills. There's a lot to be learned from running around town with your friends. Now we have 20-year-olds who are scared to cross the street. The sheer amount of time they spend in weird places online. Also considering the people they look up to, it's worrying. Quite puritanical about shutting down opposing views. I would personally say that all generations have become increasingly polarized and challenged to humanize people who are unlike them. Their levels of aggression. My worry is that today's youth won't be able to make important decisions for themselves, like managing a household. The amount of time children spend on social media versus completing their schoolwork is ridiculous. Many parents are more concerned with trying to live through their children. I don't like how the youth are forced to go viral in situations. I'm afraid the youth won't be able to complete sentences or even come across as well spoken nor go to college. The way the youth are dying from TikTok challenges breaks my heart.